The drive back to Elena's cliffside villa in Cadax was a silent symphony of wipers and labored breaths. The winding coastal road hugged the Mediterranean like a lover reluctant to let go. Waves crashing below in jealous fury. Elena stole glances at her passenger, this stranger whose presence filled the car with the faint scent of wet earth and desperation. Adeline was younger than she looked, mid-20s maybe, with freckles dusting her nose like forgotten stars, and curls that clung to her neck in defiant ringlets. "I'm Elena," she finally said, breaking the hush as they crested the hill toward the villa's wrought iron gates. "And you look like you could use a hot meal and a dry bed." Adeline's laugh was a brittle thing, more cough than mirth. "Lady, I've heard that line before. Usually ends with expectations I ain't got the energy for." Her American accent, Midwestern flatness softened by years on the road, mirrored Elena's own Bay Area clip, a reminder that they were both fish out of water in this sun-baked corner of Spain. Elena Voss had fled here 2 years ago, after her family's AI empire imploded in a scandal of embezzlement and whispered affairs, leaving her with a fortune but a soul hollowed out like driftwood. Cadax, with its whitewashed walls and Picasso-haunted coves, was her self-imposed exile, a place to rebuild or at least pretend to. "I'm not that kind of cliché," Elena replied, her tone sharper than intended, pulling into the driveway where olive trees whispered secrets to the wind. The villa loomed like a modernist dream. Glass walls framing the sea, infinity pools spilling toward the horizon. Adeline's eyes widened, but she schooled her face into neutrality, stepping out with the wariness of someone who'd learned trust was a luxury. Inside, the air hummed with central heat and the faint jazz of Miles Davis from hidden speakers. Elena tossed her a towel and pointed to the guest suite. "Shower. Food's in the kitchen. No strings yet." Adeline lingered in the doorway, towel clutched like a shield. "Why me? You could have kept driving." Elena shrugged, pouring herself a Scotch neat, the amber liquid catching the firelight. "Because I've been you. Not homeless but lost. Scraping for scraps in a world that doesn't give a damn." It was the truth, or close enough. The Voss legacy had been built on innovation and ruthlessness, but Elena's queerness had always been the family's dirty secret, tolerated only until it threatened the brand. Her coming out at 18 had fractured everything. By 32, she was a pariah in her own empire, nursing wounds in Europe while her ex-girlfriend, the one who'd promised forever, had cashed out and vanished. Upstairs, the shower steam fogged the mirrors as Adeline peeled away layers of grime and grief. She'd come to Spain on a whim, chasing a freelance photography gig that evaporated when the client ghosted her. Back in Chicago, she'd been a barista with dreams, until her mom's cancer bills buried her, and the streets became her address. At 28, Adeline Reyes had nothing left but a battered Nikon and a heart armored in sarcasm. The hot water was a revelation, sluicing away the chill, but it couldn't touch the ache of isolation. Emerging in borrowed sweats that swam on her slight frame, she found Elena in the kitchen, plating paella with the precision of someone used to control. They ate on the terrace, the storm abating to a misty drizzle, stars pricking the velvet sky. Conversation flowed haltingly at first. Adeline's tales of busking in Madrid squares, Elena's wry anecdotes about dodging paparazzi in Barcelona's Gothic quarter. Laughter crept in, tentative like sunlight after rain. "You're not what I expected from a rich girl," Adeline admitted, fork midway to her mouth. Elena's smile was crooked, vulnerable. "And you're tougher than you look. What's your story, really? That sign said anything helps. But your eyes say try me." Adeline's gaze dropped to the sea, where foam-laced waves whispered confessions. "Lost my mom last year. Cancer. Debts piled up like snowdrifts. Thought Spain would be a reset, sun sangria, new start. Instead it's just survival." Her voice cracked on the last word, and Elena reached across the table, fingers brushing Adeline's knuckles. The touch was electric, innocent, a spark in the gathering dark. "Stay," Elena murmured. "Just for tonight. Let me help." Dawn broke in hues of rose and gold, painting the villa in soft promise. Adeline woke to the scent of coffee and the sound of Elena's voice on a call, brisk, boardroom sharp, negotiating some distant deal. She padded downstairs, Nikon in hand, capturing the light fracturing through the olives. Elena ended the call, spotting her. "Thief of moments," she teased, but her eyes lingered, tracing the curve of Adeline's jaw. They spent the morning wandering the garden, Adeline snapping photos while Elena shared snippets of her world. The startup she'd bootstrapped here, an app for connecting expat artists, born from her own loneliness. By afternoon, barriers crumbled. They hiked the coastal path to a hidden cove, where turquoise water lapped at pebbled shores. Adeline stripped to her tank top, diving in with a whoop, and Elena followed, laughter bubbling up as they surfaced, hair slicked back, faces alive. Treading water inches apart, Adeline's breath hitched. This feels like a dream. Or a trap. Elena's hand found her waist under the waves, steadying. Then let's make it real. Their lips met in a salt-kissed brush, tentative then deepening, a promise forged in the sea's embrace. It was the first kiss that felt like homecoming, raw and unscripted, two souls adrift finding anchor. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of stolen sunsets and midnight confessions. Adeline's photos adorned the villa's walls, her presence weaving into Elena's days like thread through fabric. Elena hired her as a creative consultant, fair pay, no pity, and Adeline bloomed, her cynicism softening under Elena's gaze. They cooked tapas together, argued over Scorsese films projected on the living room wall, made love in the hush of dawn with the gentleness of rediscovery. "You're my reset," Adeline whispered one night. Head on Elena's chest, heartbeat a lullaby. Elena held her tighter, ignoring the shadow at the edge of her mind. Emery Langford had been Elena's anchor for 5 years. An architect with a mind like blueprints, precise and unyielding. They'd met at a San Francisco gallery opening, bonding over shared sketches and stolen kisses in coat closets. Emery's blonde bob and blue-eyed intensity had captivated Elena, her love a fortress against the world. But when the Voss scandal hit, Emery stayed, until she didn't. "I can't build on ruins," she'd said, packing her drafting table, leaving Elena to shatter alone. Or so Elena thought. Unbeknownst to her, Emery had followed her trail to Spain, landing a commission in Girona, nursing regrets in the Catalan hills. The call came on a sweltering July evening, as Elena and Adeline picnicked on the terrace, Rose chilling in an ice bucket. Elena's phone buzzed, unknown number. But the San Francisco area code twisted her gut. "Elena? It's me." Emery's voice, cool as marble, sliced through the line. Adeline paused mid-bite, sensing the shift. "Emery? How did you?" Elena's words faltered, face paling. "I know about Cadax. I'm here. In Spain. We need to talk." The air thickened, charged with the scent of jasmine and foreboding. Adeline's hand tightened on her glass, knuckles whitening. Elena hung up, explanations tumbling out in fragments. The history, the hurt, the love that lingered like smoke. "She's my past," Elena insisted, cupping Adeline's face. "You're my now." But Adeline's eyes, those hazel storms, clouded with doubt. "Past has a way of clawing back. Just be careful." That night, as thunder rumbled over the Pyrenees, Elena lay awake, Adeline's warmth a fragile shield. The fissure widened, unseen fault lines trembling beneath their fragile peace. Emery arrived like a squall off the Balearics. Unannounced, inevitable. It was a Thursday, the kind where the sun baked the terracotta tiles until they sighed heat, and Elena was in her home office, sunlight slanting across blueprints for her app's expansion. The doorbell chimed, a modernist trill that set her teeth on edge. Adeline was out, scouting locations for a photo series on coastal resilience. Ironic, Elena thought later, given what was coming. Emery stood on the threshold, unchanged and utterly foreign. 32 now, her blonde bob razor-sharp, blue eyes appraising the villa like a flawed elevation. She wore a linen shift in dove gray, espadrilles dusted with Girona clay, a leather tote slung over one shoulder. "You look good, Elle," she said, stepping inside without invitation, the faint trace of her Chanel No. 5 clashing with the villa's sea salt air. Elena froze, coffee mug midway to her lips. "What are you doing here?" Emery's laugh was a scalpel, precise, cutting. "Chasing ghosts. Or unfinished business. Take your pick." She wandered the living room, fingers trailing over Adeline's framed prints. Black and white studies of weathered fishing boats, solitary figures against crashing surf. "These aren't yours. Who's the artist?" Elena's jaw tightened. "Someone important." "Why now, after 2 years of radio silence?" Emery turned, eyes softening to something perilously close to remorse. "Because I was wrong. The scandal. It broke us, but I ran instead of fighting. I've been in Girona, redesigning eco-villas, but every line I draw leads back to you. To us. She closed the distance, hand hovering near Elena's arm, not quite touching. The air hummed with memory, their first apartment in the Mission District, late nights sketching dreams over takeout pho. The way Emery's touch had once steadied Elena's storms. Elena stepped back, heart a war drum. Us is past tense. I'm building something here. With someone. Emery's brow arched, a flicker of something dark. Jealousy? Hurt? The photographer. I saw her Instagram. Adeline, right? Bohemian charm, all grit and grace. She looks temporary. The word landed like a slap, and Elena's temper flared, hot as the Spanish sun. You don't get to judge. You left me when I needed you most. They argued then, voices rising like the tide. Emery accusing Elena of hiding in exile, Elena hurling back Emery's abandonment. It ended in a truce of sorts. Coffee on the terrace, tentative olive branches extended over shared croissants. Emery stayed for lunch, regaling Elena with tales of her Girona projects, the sustainable arches she'd drawn inspired by Gaudi. Laughter crept in unbidden, and Elena felt the pull. The familiar gravity of Emery's mind, sharp as a drafting pencil. Adeline returned as the sun dipped toward the horizon, arms laden with wildflowers in her Nikon. She stopped dead in the doorway, bouquet wilting in the sudden chill. Elena rose, introductions awkward as splintered glass. Adeline, this is Emery, old friend from San Francisco. Emery extended a hand, smile polished. The talent behind those walls. Your work's stunning, raw like the coast itself. Adeline shook it, grip firm, eyes scanning Emery's poised frame with the acuity of a shutter click. Thanks. Elena's been my muse. The words were light, but laced with possession. Dinner that night was a minefield. Elena had suggested it, neutral ground she thought. But the terrace table groaned under paella and salad, tension thicker than the humid air. Emery dominated the conversation, weaving stories of their shared past. The Napa weekend where they'd gotten lost in vineyards, tipsy on Cabernet and each other. The protest in Dolores Park where Emery's signs had outshone the rainbows. Adeline listened, fork pushing peas like chess pieces, her smiles tight. Sounds idyllic, she said once, voice even. Chicago winters were more survivalist. Emery leaned in, all empathy. Must be tough starting over. Elena's always had a soft spot for strays. The table stilled. Elena's fork clattered. Emery. Adeline's laugh was a shard. Stray? Cute. But I've got claws if you scratch. The banter teetered on flirtation, Emery's eyes dancing, Adeline's flashing defiance. Elena mediated, heart splintering. Torn between the woman who'd rebuilt her and the ghost who'd designed her. As night fell, stars wheeling overhead, Emery rose to leave. Think about it, Elle, she murmured at the door, pressing a card into Elena's palm. Her Girona studio address embossed like a vow. We were architects of something real. Don't settle for sketches. Adeline appeared then, silent shadow, watching Emery's taillights fade down the drive. She's trouble, Adeline said simply, slipping into Elena's arms. They made love that night with an urgency born of fear. Bodies mapping reassurances, whispers chasing shadows. But in the quiet after, Adeline's voice trembled. Promise me you're not going back. Elena lied with a kiss. Never. The betrayal brewed slowly, like sangria left too long in the sun. Elena told herself it was harmless, lunches in Girona, catching up over espresso and architecture talks. Emery was a mirror to her old self. Ambitious, unscarred, the Elena Voss who'd conquered code before heartbreak. They toured Emery's site one afternoon. Hard hats perched jauntily, wind whipping off the Tur River. See this arch? Emery pointed, hand on Elena's shoulder, warm through the fabric. It's us, strong, curved to weather anything. Elena pulled away, but the seed took root. Adeline noticed the drift. Elena's late returns, the distracted glances at her phone. She buried it in work, her photo series gaining buzz from a Barcelona gallery, but doubt gnawed like termites. One evening, finding Elena's browser open to flights from Barcelona to San Francisco, Emery's idea, a reconciliation trip. Adeline confronted her in the kitchen, voice steady as rebar. What's going on, Elle? You're slipping away. Elena deflected, arms wrapping around her. Just business. Emery's pitching a collab, her designs my app. It's opportunity. Adeline's eyes searched hers, finding cracks. Or unfinished business. The argument escalated, words like barbs. Adeline accusing Elena of nostalgia-fueled folly. Elena snapping that Adeline's insecurities were homeless baggage. The slap, Adeline's palm cracking against Elena's cheek, wasn't hard, but it echoed like judgment. Don't you dare, Adeline hissed, tears carving tracks. I'm not baggage. I'm yours if you want me. Elena reeled, cheek blooming red. The sting a wake up to the precipice they teetered on. Apologies came in waves. Flowers from the market, nights of tender reconciliation. But Emery persisted, texts laced with allure. Miss your fire. El Girona's empty without it. Elena deleted them, but not before Adeline glimpsed one, left open on the counter. Trust fractured, a hairline split widening to gulf. The high point came in August, the air thick with heat and unspoken dread. Elena's app launched to acclaim, a virtual gallery linking expats worldwide. Adeline's photos as its heartbeat. The launch party was at the villa. Catered tapas, cava flowing, influencers mingling under string lights. Adeline shone, camera in hand, capturing joy amid the chaos. Emery crashed it, uninvited, a bottle of vintage Rioja in hand like a peace offering, or a gauntlet. She cornered Elena by the pool. Guests' laughter a distant roar. This is your empire reborn, Emery said, eyes gleaming. But it's half-built without me. Her hand cupped Elena's elbow, thumb tracing a circle that ignited old fires. Elena wavered, the pull magnetic. Am I? But Adeline appeared, shadow to light, wrenching Elena away. Dance with me, she demanded, pulling her onto the makeshift floor. Body swaying to a sultry flamenco remix. Emery watched from the sidelines, smile brittle as spun glass. Later, as guests thinned, Emery pulled her ace. A folder from her tote, blueprints for a Voss-Langford partnership. Eco-villas integrated with Elena's app, a legacy to rival her family's fall. We could change the world again, Emery whispered. Elena's resolve crumbled, accepting the folder with trembling hands. That night, Adeline found her poring over it by lamplight, betrayal etched in every line. September brought Sirocco winds, hot breaths from the Sahara that stripped the coast bare, mirroring the raw edges of Elena's unraveling. Adeline moved through days like a specter, her laughter dimmed, touches tentative, the villa's once vibrant air now laced with the acrid tang of doubt. She threw herself into her exhibit, Driftwood Dreams, scheduled for Barcelona's Santa Monica Gallery, photos chronicling fragility. Cracked shells, lone sails against tempests. Elena praised them, but her mind wandered to Emery's blueprints, the promise of redemption in precise lines. The confrontation brewed over a mundane dinner. Grilled sardines and aioli. The sea a restless murmur beyond the glass. Adeline set her fork down, eyes fixed on Elena's. I saw the folder. The one from her. Elena's pulse stuttered. It's just ideas, Addie. Professional. Adeline's laugh was hollow, echoing off the tiles. Professional? Like the way she looks at you. Like you're her unfinished masterpiece. She rose, pacing, curls wild in the lamplight. I came here broken, yeah, homeless, hopeless. But I gave you everything. My trust. My heart. And you're trading it for ghosts. Elena's defenses rose like floodwalls. You don't get it. Emery knows me, the Elena before the fall. She sees potential, not pity. The word slipped out, venomous, and Adeline recoiled as if struck. Pity? Is that what this is? You plucked me from the gutter, played house, but deep down I'm just your charity case. Tears welled, but she blinked them back, chin lifting in defiance. I thought we were building something real. Not a phase. The fight spilled onto the terrace, words whipping like the wind. Elena accused Adeline of clinging too tight, her past a chain. Adeline hurled back Elena's indecision, her heart a revolving door. Choose, Adeline demanded finally, voice breaking like surf on rocks. Her or me. Because I can't watch you rebuild with someone who broke you. Elena stood silent, the sea's roar filling the void, her choice a noose tightening. I need time, she whispered, but time was the thief they'd both outrun. Adeline packed that night. Not everything, just essentials. Nikon a few changes, the wildflower crown from their Cove day, wilted but cherished. She left a note on the kitchen island. You saved me once. Now save yourself. If it's her, I get it. Just don't lie to us. Dawn found her on a bus to Barcelona. The city lights blurring through tears, heart a hollow drum. Emery's studio in Girona was a sanctuary of light and line. Skylights flooding drafting tables, walls pinned with elevations like pinned butterflies. Elena arrived unannounced, folder clutched like a talisman, the drive a blur of coastal curves and churning regret. Emery greeted her with a hug that lingered too long, blue eyes alight. You came. Over coffee, black, no sugar. They poured over plans, synergy sparking like faulty wiring. This could be our atonement, Emery said, hand over Elena's on the blueprint. Voslangford. Resilient, revolutionary. For a week, Elena stayed. Nights in Emery's spare room, days lost in collaboration. It felt like slipping into an old coat. Familiar but ill-fitting now, seemed strained by absence. Emery cooked quinoa salads and seared scallops, her precision in the kitchen a bomb. They walked the medieval walls at dusk, reminiscing. The tattoo Elena got on a dare in Portland, Emery's sketch. The ring they'd bought but never exchanged, tucked in a drawer. I never stopped loving you, Emery confessed one evening, rain pattering on the studio roof. I was scared of the scandal of us fracturing the world. Elena wanted to believe it, to let the past rewrite the present. But Adeline haunted the edges. A photo on Elena's phone laughing in the cove. The faint scent of her citrus shampoo on a forgotten scarf. Calls went unanswered. Adeline's line to voicemail, messages unread. Elena's texts piled up. Come back. We can fix this. Silence was her reply. A verdict harsher than words. The betrayal crested at the exhibit opening. Adeline's driftwood dreams drew a crowd, critics in linen suits, expats sipping vermouth, flashbulbs popping like erratic heartbeats. Elena arrived alone, Emery at her side in a nod to partnership, her arm linked possessively. The gallery hummed, walls alive with Adeline's vision. A triptych of the Costa Brava, waves clawing at cliffs, a solitary figure, blurred but unmistakably Elena, standing at the edge. Adeline moved among them like smoke, black dress hugging her frame, curls pinned with a seashell, hazel eyes shadowed but fierce. She spotted Elena, freezing mid-conversation, the air between them a live wire. Emery, oblivious or not, steered Elena toward a print. This one's poignant. Loss in every pixel. Adeline approached then, voice a controlled burn. Glad you made it. Both of you. Her gaze flicked to their linked arms, stealing. Elena unlinked, stepping forward. Addie, please. Talk to me. Adeline's smile was a blade. About what? How you chose blueprints over us. Or how she fits so neatly into your old life. Guests milled, sensing drama, but Adeline lowered her voice, venom intimate. I saw the articles, Voslangford buzz. Congrats. You two deserve each other. Perfect, polished, pretend. Emery interjected, tone icy. This isn't the place. Elena's made her choice. The gallery spun, murmurs rising like tide. Adeline's eyes locked on Elena's, pleading, stripped bare. Did she? Or did you let fear win again? Elena's throat closed, words failing as Adeline turned, vanishing into the crowd. Emery tugged her away. Let her go. But Elena wrenched free, chasing Adeline into the rain-swept alley behind the gallery. Wait. Elena called, coat flapping like broken wings. Adeline whirled, soaked and unbowed. What do you want, Elena? Absolution. Rain streamed down her face, mingling with tears. I gave you my broken pieces, and you glued them with someone else's ghost. I'm done being the interlude. Elena grabbed her arm, desperate. You're not. You're everything, the light, the fight. Emery's safe, but you're alive. Come home. Adeline pulled away, chest heaving. Home? That villa was never mine. It was yours and now hers. I need to find my own. She pressed a thumb drive into Elena's palm. Final photos unshared. For your app. No strings. Then she was gone, melting into Barcelona's neon veins, leaving Elena adrift in the downpour. Back at the gallery, Emery waited, concern masked as composure. You okay? Elena nodded, numb, pocketing the drive like contraband. They drove to Girona in silence, the partnership papers signed that night over brandy, ink drying like blood on a contract. But victory tasted of ash, Elena's reflection in the window a stranger's. Days blurred into a hollow routine. Site visits, investor calls, Emery's touch a placeholder. Adeline's exhibit reviews glowed, a raw elegy to impermanence. But her trail vanished, socials gone dark, Barcelona buzzing with rumors of a nomad photographer heading south. Elena's messages echoed unanswered, regret a constant tide eroding her shores. The climax shattered on All Saints' Eve, winds howling like mourners. Elena drove to the cove, their cove, blueprints fluttering from the passenger seat like fallen leaves. Emery had proposed a toast that afternoon. To new beginnings. But Elena's heart rebelled. The drive a pilgrimage of what-ifs. At the water's edge, waves gnashing like teeth, she burned the papers. Flames devouring arches and algorithms, sparks rising to the indifferent stars. Her phone buzzed, Adeline finally. Not a call, a voice note, voice steady but laced with sorrow. Saw the reviews. Proud of you even from afar. I forgive you, not for leaving but for loving half measures. Find your whole. Elena played it on loop, salt blurring the screen until resolve hardened like cooled lava. November cloaked Cadax in mist, the cliffs veiled like grieving widows, mirroring the fog in Elena's soul. The villa echoed with absence. Adeline's laughter a phantom, her photos staring down like silent judges. Elena dissolved the partnership overnight, blueprints consigned to digital oblivion. Emery's fury a transatlantic call. You're throwing away our future for what? A fling. Elena's reply was steel. For my truth. Goodbye, Em. The line went dead. A door slamming on 5 years of almosts. Rebuilding began in fragments. Therapy sessions via Zoom with a San Francisco counselor, unpacking the Voss armor layer by layer. Long walks along the Cami de Ronda, where the sea's rhythm coaxed confessions from her lips. Elena poured it into her app, updates featuring user stories of reinvention, Adeline's thumb drive integrated as a tribute series. Echoes of driftwood, anonymous but aching with her touch. Emery's betrayal lingered, a scar tissue reminder. The way she'd reframed Adeline as transient, herself as destiny. But Elena's true reckoning was internal. The fear that had let her waver, trading vulnerability for security. Letters came unsent, penned in the villa's study, to her mother forgiving the silences, to Adeline a litany of loves unspoken. You taught me home isn't a place, one read. It's the person who sees your storms and stays to dance in the rain. Word of Adeline surfaced through gallery whispers. A sighting in Valencia, camera slung over shoulder, collaborating on a mural project for migrant artists. Elena resisted the urge to chase, honoring the space Adeline had claimed. Instead, she volunteered at a local shelter, teaching coding to runaways, their wary eyes echoing her own younger self. In their stories fleeing families forging paths, she found echoes of grace, the humanism that mended what wealth couldn't. Winter solstice brought the turning. Elena hosted a solstice gathering at the villa, expats and locals, lanterns bobbing like fireflies, a bonfire crackling on the beach. She shared her app's evolution voice steady. We all drift sometimes. But connection real ragged pulls us ashore. As flames leaped, a figure emerged from the shadows. Adeline wind-tousled and tentative, Nikon at her hip. Elena's breath caught, heart a wild bird. Adeline approached, eyes tracing Elena's face like a long-lost map. Heard about the updates. Echoes hit hard. Elena nodded, throat tight. It was you. Always. Silence stretched, heavy with what-ifs until Adeline smiled, small real. I wandered south. Painted walls, captured stories. Learned I don't need saving. But I miss our dance. They talked then, words weaving like vines. Hurts aired, apologies offered without qualifiers. Adeline spoke of Valencia's vibrancy, the murals born of shared scars. Elena of the shelter kids, the app's quiet revolutions. I chose wrong, Elena admitted, firelight gilding her green eyes. Not you, but fear over faith. Emery was blueprint, your canvas endless alive. Adeline's hand found hers, fingers interlacing like puzzle pieces slotting home. Then let's paint messy. Together. No grand gestures followed, no rings, no vows etched in stone. They started small. Adeline returning to the guest suite, not as guest but partner. Joint hikes where photos and code intertwined, birthing features for underrepresented voices. Emery faded to footnote. A holiday card, polite and distant. Her own path diverging to Berlin projects. Betrayal sting dulled to lesson. A forge tempering Elena's resolve. Spring unfurled in riotous color. Bougainvillea cascading over villa walls. Almond blossoms dusting the paths. Elena and Adeline's love deepened in the quotidian. Morning coffees on the terrace, arguments over exhibit layouts dissolving into kisses. Nights where Adeline's head pillowed on Elena's lap, Elena's fingers combing curls as stories spilled. "You're my horizon," Adeline murmured once as they watched dawn gild the sea. "Endless possibility." The humanistic close came not in triumph but quiet mending. Adeline's next series, Anchors Away, toured Madrid, images of couples, families, solos standing resilient against Iberian skies, Elena woven through as muse and collaborator. Critics hailed it a testament to love's quiet rebellions. At the opening, Elena stood beside her. Not as savior but equal, hand in hers, the crowd's applause a shared breath. Years later, on a cliffside path much like their first, Elena would reflect. Life wasn't linear. No straight arch to glory. It was jagged coast, cliffs and coves, storms and sun. Navigated not alone but entwined. Adeline, ever the photographer, captured it. Two women mid-laugh, wind-whipped and whole, the Mediterranean stretching eternal behind them. In that frame no ghosts lingered. Only grace, hard-won and luminous. And in the villa's guest book, "Now there's fully," Adeline inscribed. "Home found, not built. With you."